Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
And Marianne behind the camera.
And welcome to Cavalcade and Friends today, Marianne. And we are making a Hungarian cheesecake with our friend Lisa. How fun is that?
Very fun.
And I got to start having some more people in the kitchen to, so I don't have to do everything. Anyways, this is our friend Lisa. We've been friends for a million years, and the recipe we're doing today came from an old cookbook that Lisa was sharing with me, and we're going to try it. So welcome, Lisa, to Cavalcade of Food.
Thank you, Kevin.
And before we get started, what's the backstory on the recipe and the cookbook that the recipe came from?
So the cookbook came from my mother, and my mother received it from a neighbor who was Hungarian, and she and her church, I believe, put this cookbook together, the Hungarian Reformed Church in Allen Park, Michigan.
In Allen Park, Michigan. So we can share, too, that your family is from a part of the Detroit area where there was a large Hungarian population. Although you're not Hungarian.
We're Polish.
Right. But there were Polish people, too.
Yes.
But Polish and Hungarian, Slavic, right?
Yes.
An area in in the Detroit area some people call it Downriver, some people call it Del Rey, but it was very much an enclave of Hungarian people. And I know when we were kids, there were great Hungarian restaurants in that area that we would go to. So anyways, thank you, Lisa, for sharing this. Now, why don't you come over here. We're going to start. There's a few stages to this cheesecake. There's the crust, there's the filling, and then there's a topping. Okay? So we got to start with the crust. So 9 by 13 pan. Can be metal, can be glass, whatever. This is Lisa's pan, and so
Yeah.
it's non-stick, which is
Right.
nice. So what we're going to do is we'll put that aside. Now we've got here, Mare, this is 1.25 cups of graham cracker crumbs, okay? So this is just, put graham crackers in a Ziploc bag and took the old rolling pin and made some crumbs. Lisa, I'm going to give you a spatula here.
All right.
This is 1/4 cup of sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon. We're going to add that to the graham cracker. And Lisa, why don't you toss that all together?
I have a question with the pan.
Yes.
So it's non-stick, so it doesn't require any greasing of the pan?
This does not. The recipe didn't call for it. And often with a crust like this, you would not grease the pan. And here's why. So you've got your graham crackers there. But here's what else goes in. 1/3 cup of melted butter. So basically, here's your grease right here. So not only is this butter going to help the graham crackers crumbs to kind of stick together and hold together, it will help provide an easy release, as it were, okay, to the pan. So why don't you toss that around? Yeah, make sure you get it all good and wet with the butter moistened, because then what we're going to do is we're going to sort of shape That looks great, Lise.
Okay.
Okay?
A little slow on.
That's okay. Now we're going to just put this all in here. Make sure we get all of it here. Now, you can do this one of two ways. We want to press this in. So I like to just do this. Kind of helps distribute. Now you can use your fingers if you want, or we can pat down with the flat bottom of, you could use like a glass, you know, like a drinking glass, or you could use, this is a measuring cup here. You could do that. We're just going to pat this down. Now, we're following the recipe in the cookbook, which does not call for us to pre-bake this crust. Sometimes a recipe, a graham cracker crust, they'll have you put it in the oven for 10 minutes or so to kind of lightly toast it. The recipe didn't call for that. So we're just following along. But
I did wonder about that.
yeah. Okay. How's that look?
Looks
We
great.
happy with that? All right. We're going to get cleaned up and we will come back and then we'll put the filling together. Our crust is done, so now we got to do the filling. You know what interested me about this recipe, Lise, is that you know, we've all had lots of cheesecakes in our life.
Too many.
Too many. Probably, for sure. And, you know, our mom made a wonderful cheesecake. And like most cheesecakes, I think, that we're familiar with, the base of the filling was a cream cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But this doesn't call for cream cheese. It calls for cottage cheese. And I don't know, maybe if we have some Hungarian viewers, maybe a cream cheese, because it seemed like there were a lot of recipes in that Hungarian book that mentioned cream cheese, didn't it?
Cottage.
Or cottage cheese, I'm sorry, cottage cheese, yes. So this calls for two kinds of cottage cheese. It calls for dry cottage cheese, and it calls for creamed cottage cheese. So what's the difference? Well, the creamed cottage cheese is pretty much what comes out of the carton. You can see. You've got the curds there, and of course they're completely mixed in with a thick cream. So the dry cottage cheese is where you put the cottage cheese in a sieve, and remember we did this yesterday, and this has been sitting, I'm giving it a bang here. This has been sitting for over 24 hours. But can you see the difference?
Yeah.
It's still got some cream in it, but it's fairly dry. So this calls for a pound, and look, here's the, can you get that, Mare? This is the,
Yep.
so it calls for a pound of dry cottage cheese and a half a pound of creamed cottage cheese. So all told, a pound and a half of cottage cheese. Then it calls for sour cream, a cup of sour cream. And Lisa, this is, I believe you bought the regular full-fat sour cream.
Yes.
Matter of fact, all of this is. None of it is fat-free. Maybe, I don't know how it would be, but I'm sure when that book was written,
In '76.
there wasn't, you didn't have all
Maybe
this,
earlier.
maybe even earlier, you didn't have all this fat-free stuff. All right, so we've got a pound and a half of cottage cheese, a pound of it dry, a half pound of it creamed, a cup of sour cream, and 1 cup of granulated sugar. We are going to mix this together now until creamy. Go ahead, Lisa. Start slow. Yep. And Mira, I don't know if you can kind of get in there and see. All right, let's take it up a little bit. Take it up to the next. There we go. We're going to let this, what we really want this to be is fluffy and creamy. So we want the mixer to break down those curds, okay, and really cream this up. And when we come back, we will add the other ingredients. So we're making a Hungarian cheesecake with our friend Lisa. Okie doke. So here we are. The mixer has done a nice job kind of breaking down those curds. There's still a little bit of texture in there, which is okay, I think. Again, I've never made this cake, folks, and we really cook on this show, okay? This is like, so we're really doing it here. All right, now the next thing is it takes 4 eggs,
Right.
and it calls to add them one at a time, blending well after each one. So I will put the egg in here, Lisa, if you would be so kind as to, let's lower the mixer and
Okay.
get that combined. The eggs, of course, are going to add a nice richness, and they're also going to help this cake lift.
Okay.
You know, cheesecake, okay, that's good. We'll put the next one in. Thank you.
All right.
Cheesecake can be heavy, and it really shouldn't be. It should be light. And what makes it light are the eggs, and of course beating it properly. So, all right.
Yeah, that's nice.
We're going to do the next 2 eggs one at a time, and then we'll come back. Lisa, look, it's got a nice, of course the eggs gave it a little bit of a yellow color from the yolk. The last thing to go into this cheesecake, and really, it's funny how, although it's a variation on the traditional cheesecake using cottage cheese, it really using cottage cheese instead of cream cheese. It's interesting how it has all the other components, the sour cream,
Yeah.
the sugar, and lemon. So it calls for, and by the way, the recipe is in the description below the video. So you'll have it. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, freshly squeezed, if you please, and a half a teaspoon of lemon zest. So this is going to help kind of brighten things up a little bit, just give it a little bit of that tang. So let's stir that in. Very good. Okay, now let's bring our pan over. Okay, Lisa, I think we're mixed.
Okay.
Yep. So here's our batter. Now let's tell our friends we have the oven, and in this case, the beautiful 1954 General Electric Liberator range. We have that preheated to 300 degrees. And this is going to cook for 60 minutes, okay? An hour at 300. And what we're going to do is we're going to pour this over our crust. And bake for an hour. So, you know, we're here still in the holiday season, and I will tell you that at least in our house, we love to have friends over during the holidays, love to entertain, and Lisa's been a regular guest in our house during the holidays for many years. But one thing that we also enjoy doing with our friends is cooking and baking. And I think, you know, have a bunch of friends over, make Christmas cookies, make a cheesecake, or whatever. You know, all families have different traditions for the holidays of things that they like to do. And it's great to do it as a group with family and friends. Lisa, I'm going to ask you to open the oven door for me here.
Okay.
And we will put this in, put it on the center rack of the oven, 300 degrees, 1 hour on the timer, and we'll come on back. In the meantime, we'll get the ingredients together for the topping, which will go on it after it bakes for an hour. Goes on the warm cheesecake when it comes out of the oven. Cavalcade and Friends, Hungarian Cheese Cake. Well, okay, Miss Lisa.
That looks good.
It looks good. This is an hour in the oven. It looks nice and set. It's still hot, and I just took it out maybe 5 minutes ago. It was a little higher, but as things cool, and this happens with everything, especially things with eggs, it will shrink a little bit, okay? But we're going to make the topping, and the recipe says to put the topping on the warm cake. So we're going to just move the cake off to the side. All right, Sis, get in here. Lisa, I'm going to give you the whisk.
Okay.
We're going to start with a cup of sour cream. All right. So let's get that sour cream in there. Then it calls for a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. Okay, start mixing that together, would you, Lisa? Then 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Okay, we're going to put that in there. Sammy, cornstarch is a little sticky sometimes. Okay, go ahead and whisk. And then 2 teaspoons of vanilla. There you go. Okay. Give that a good blending. Okay. Does it look like you got all the dry ingredients incorporated?
I think so.
I think so too.
All right.
Okay. So, okay, let me put this here. We're gonna bring the cake over. Now it says spread on warm cake. So I'm gonna go like this. And then we're gonna put it back in the oven for 10 minutes more. So we have our little, just a little topping of a sweetened sour cream. I'm going to try to do this. It'd be a fairly thin topping. Okay. Almost has a natural edge to it, doesn't it? Like on the side. Okay.
Looks good.
Looks good. Now, Lisa, I'm going to ask you to open the door for me. And I'm going to put that back in. 10 more minutes and we'll come out with our Hungarian cheesecake. So we had our cheesecake in for another 10 minutes, and I can tell, Lisa, that that topping has just set.
Okay.
Okay? And there it is.
Well, I can see the steam coming out.
You can see the steam coming off. Now the bad news is we have to wait for this thing to cool completely. You know, cheesecake actually is better served kind of chilled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or just slightly below room temperature. So we're going to have to just let it do its thing. So maybe what do you girls think? We'll just maybe let the cheesecake cool. We'll take it home and we'll have our tasting at the house.
Sounds
But
great.
what do you think, sweetie? You
It
like?
looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It's great. Can't wait to get into it.
Yeah. So I'm so glad you brought this recipe up to try. So anyway, so there it is. Gonna let it cool completely. Gonna let it chill out a little bit, and we will give it a taste in a little while. So we made a Hungarian cheesecake. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Kevin.
So, anyways, we'll be back for a taste. Well, hi, food friends. We're here with our friends at home. We brought the cheesecake back home, and it's been cooling for a couple hours. And this time of year, we actually have a 2-car refrigerator right over there, known as the garage, and it's been cooling off. And Mayor, I don't know if you can see, here is the cheesecake. You know, this actually would make this would feed quite a crowd.
Yeah, it's a good size.
So, and then look who's here.
Hi everybody, that's Ralph in front of the camera.
So he couldn't make it to the studio, but he could make it for a little taste
I get to benefit from the fruits of your labors.
of the final
I
product.
come for the fun part.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's show our friends here a little cutaway of the actual cheesecake. Now, I have a corner piece. So, but you see that nice, beautiful crust there, the graham cracker. And you can kind of see there is the top layer. It's, a thin layer, the sour cream layer, and then the filling. So,
Let's
I
dig
guess
in.
at this point, right, there's nothing.
Nothing to it but to do it.
So,
It's got a good consistency.
mm-hmm.
Is it still warm?
No.
Oh, it's so chiffony, very light.
Very light.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm.
So this is a Hungarian recipe or Hungarian cookbook?
Uh-huh.
The recipe out of the Hungarian cookbook.
Because it is different. It's so light. I mean, it's not dense like normal cheesecakes, but it's got the nice cheesy, sweet flavor.
Mm-hmm. And I'm getting in the filling a little bit.
The
Every
curds.
once in a while you get a little curd.
I'm getting that too.
I mean, we really mixed it pretty well, but
Curds in a way. It's
Oh.
almost like, at first I thought it was coconut because it's like definitely a texture,
yeah,
but it's the curds.
it's the curds. But the crust is nice,
Look how
and
light.
there's a little cinnamon in that
Yeah.
graham cracker crust, and you can taste that.
They cut so nice and easy too with the fork.
It's very good.
Very good. Wow.
We gotta let Marianne get in here and get her piece.
I know, it's sitting there. You getting ready for yours, Mayor?
Yeah.
So Lisa, thank you for sharing the recipe with me and with our food friends, and I'm so glad we were able to try it out. I think it's a hit.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
bravo. So anyways, we're here, and we hope that you're spending the holidays with your friends and family, cooking and enjoying each other's company, and we appreciate you being here. Again, the recipe's under the video. Check out the website, cavalcadeoffood.com. Leave a comment, like, share, whatever. It's all good. And we're going to finish eating our cheesecake, and we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon, right here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.